All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your time today. Thanks for being here. My name is Robin. I'm the executive director at SIMBA. We host these business bites trainings on different topics once a month. They're usually the second Wednesday of the month, but right after the start of the year is really challenging. So we push this one back a week, but next month it will be first week. We have a different topic every time. We try to get these all done in 30 minutes or less. They are recorded and they are available on our YouTube to access at any time. We'll also send you the slides and a link to the recording in the next day or so after this training as well. So you will have the slides and you'll have all the tools you need as well. Feel free to ask questions. It's easiest if you put them in the chat so Grace can let us know, because I have the image on my side of the screen where I can't really see it. Most of you know us, but we're SIMBA, the Spokane Independent Metro Business Alliance. That's a mouthful. So I say SIMBA, but also because we don't just work in Spokane, we work in, depending on the contract, 11 to 15 Eastern Washington counties. So we're far broader than Spokane, but we started here. On our screen here, you also see this logo for the Small Business Resiliency Network. That is what's paying for us to give you this presentation today. We are one of 30 nonprofits across the state of Washington, one of 5 east of the Cascades, who is able to, on a contract with the Washington State Department of Commerce, provide resources to entrepreneurs, small businesses, and small nonprofits on basically any business support topic. If we don't know the answer, we'll find the answer or send you to the person who does. So just so you know, it's not limited to these kinds of things, but it's the time of year where everyone is ready to talk about planning their business, working on their business, starting their business, and refining their business, and of course, getting funding for the business. And the best way to do that is with a business plan, and a formal business plan, not just some notes on a piece of paper, which is a great way to start, but something structured and detailed. Why do you need one? Well, the most common reason, oops, I've lost my share. Give me just a moment to get back there. There we go. The most common reason businesses need a business plan is to attract funders or to apply for loans. If you're applying for a business loan, you have to have a business plan. How formal it is and how structured it is partly up to you, but the better it is, the more likely you're going to be able to attract funders and lenders for your business. I distinguish funders and lenders here because it's kind of 2 different categories. When I use funders for this purpose, it's really family members, potential business partners, angel investors, community funding platforms like a Kickstarter, things like that, versus lenders, which is more traditionally a bank, a credit union, a dedicated lender. They're all going to want a business plan. Every commercial or business lender in our region requires a business plan for business lending. They don't require it to be super wildly structured. It varies by lender. And I'm going to talk a lot more about commercial lending later and things you should be aware of. But it's definitely something that you need to know and need to have. It's also great to have a business plan for goal setting, whether you're starting up and you want to achieve certain metrics before you open up your coffee shop, or perhaps your goal is to grow your revenue, or to decide on if you want to hire a staff member. It allows you to look at budget tools to see, can I afford that staff member? How much more business do I need to bring in? What if I buy that truck for my company to ship more products directly? How many more products can I ship? What does that look like? Which leads me into scaling and business growth. Business plan can also allow you to look in a real way at, where am I losing money? Where am I making money? Where are smart ways to grow my business? And also, most importantly, budgeting and financial planning. These are all things that can be done on pen and paper. They can be done on a Google or Word document. You can do these on a spreadsheet, but that is obviously time consuming, tedious. And anyone who's ever created a spreadsheet with formulas and given it to somebody else who messes up a formula is definitely aware of how challenging that can be. So where do you start? This is the logo for LivePlan. We're talking about LivePlan business planning that is offered through SIMBA for free. We'll talk about that in a minute. But here's where you might want to start. We're really going to focus today on new businesses and business ideas, kind of in the 0 to 3 years in business. I know some of you in the room who are much further along in business. Obviously, a business plan is valuable at many stages of business, particularly having a series of business plans so you can look at where you've been, what you've changed, what ideas worked, what ideas didn't, and how you can tailor that. But today's focus is going to be a little more on starting businesses. So I call it kind of the business ideas phase, 0 to 3 years in business. Either you haven't started your business at all yet, or you've been doing some work, but you want to get more formal. You probably want to prepare for funding, whether that's a business partner, an angel investor, crowdfunding, or startup lending from traditional sources. You also want to compare similar businesses. One thing that LivePlan has, and some of the resources, if you were listening to Dawn and I talk at the start of this training, resources at like Startup Spokane and the Business Library in downtown Spokane. There are resources available both on the LivePlan network and then a number of other resources that our Spokane Library has for free if you have a library card. Can give you industry-specific information. LivePlan will actually create industry-specific business plans. So you're not creating it from scratch. You're not guessing what I need if I am opening that coffee shop, which is a really easy example. There's about 500 different sample plans to get you started if you don't know where to start. Using LivePlan with SIMBA also allows you to get resources from SIMBA staff and other providers. We often work with Mark Pond and others. And there are tailored AI tools. And I will caveat that AI is new. AI is not perfect. But it is a great tool to use, whether you're working on a business plan, creating content for your website, putting together materials, especially if writing is not your strong suit. But always, always, always treat it as a tool. It's not something that you should use to write your own content. You can always tell when something has been created fully by AI. It is impossible to kind of get rid of that AI language, at least at this point within the tools, but it is a great tool to use to get you started, to give you some ideas, but always edit it. Last year, another staffer and I did a training down in Colfax, and part of it was about social media and web design, and that is her area of knowledge. And a young man who had a business outside of Colfax said, yeah, I did my website with AI, and he showed it to us. And we kind of took a look, and it was very clear that it was fully created by AI, including the reviews and the images of people who reviewed his business. And they were definitely AI created folks. So make sure if you're using it, again, it's a tool, it is not doing your whole plan. The other beauty of doing LivePlan through SIMBA or LivePlan on your own, if you want to purchase the software, it's couple $1,000, is one-on-one guidance. So the LivePlan software has guidance and tools and team members that you can communicate with while you're using it. And then the SIMBA staff also will guide you through the process. The alternative is doing it yourself or doing it with a business consultant, which in our region, depending on your business and how detailed you want your plan to be, it could be anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000. So especially if you're just in this starting out phase, getting this started in a formal way is helpful. Every single one of our lenders accepts business plans for LivePlans in our region, both our smallest banks and our largest banks. And Snap Financial, who lends to Eastern Washington businesses, also uses LivePlan to create their tools. So it is something accepted and something that people are used to in our commercial lending community. Are you ready for a business plan? The most important part about whether you're ready to create a business plan is, do you have time to work on your business plan? It is your business plan. Creating your business plan with LivePlan, whether you're doing it with SIMBA or just using the software, or even if you're working with a business consultant, you have to do a lot of the initial drafting. You have to provide a lot of the initial information. I don't know the ins and outs of your business. I can help you create a good business plan using the software and the tools we have available to our team and our experience. But I don't know the details. I don't know who the owners of your business are, what their business background is, why your coffee shop is going to be better than the other coffee shop. Those are things you have to do. So you need to have the time to contribute to working on your plan. We do provide this for free. We provide it for free for 30 days. So if you want to get on our list, we have a bit of a wait list. Know that when you start, you have 30 days. We can give you another 35 days for $25, which is way cheaper than the cost of the software and the labor time for staff and our other contracted providers is also free to you. But know that we will stop it at the end of 30 days. We'll give you your archive plan. You can come back to it again, but know that you need time to work on it. And even if you're just working on it yourself, you need to dedicate time. This is not something you can put together in a couple of hours. You should spend a lot of time. If you're asking someone to give you money to fund your business, they're going to want to know what steps you took and have you show them the work you did to get that funding. You're ready for a business plan if you're ready to take next steps. Maybe you have started drafting that business plan on your own. You've got notes, you've got tools, you've got all those things. You want to make it formal. The beauty of LivePlan or other software like this is that you can access it 24/7 from anywhere, the Wi-Fi connection. I will also clarify, SIMBA is not sponsored by LivePlan in any way. We pay for it. We pay for it so our clients can use it. You're definitely ready for a business plan if you need funding or business partners, especially if you're looking for a business partner who just wants to invest, one of these serial entrepreneurs or kind of venture capitalist folks, or just someone you want to get engaged so they know exactly what they're funding. And again, commercial lenders require a business plan for funding. Again, it doesn't have to be this beautiful put together plan, but the better it is, the easier it is for the lenders to make funding decisions. Why use LivePlan? Again, accepted by regional lenders. So if you're trying to get lending from any of the banks in our region, and by region, I kind of mean Eastern Washington and North Idaho, even Seattle, all accepted by these lenders, including some of our kind of non-traditional lenders like Craft 3, who is a Northwest business lender. That's a CDFI, Community Development Fund, who funds only businesses. MoFi, which is a national lender that funds businesses. They all will accept the plans created by LivePlan. So it's vetted and verified software that's acceptable. This is a professional plan. Later, I'm going to share a plan that I worked on creating with a nonprofit that is incredible. It's mostly incredible because of all the incredible work that the folks working at the nonprofit did to get their plan ready. Your plan does not have to be as detailed as that, but showing you what it looks like and how professional it can be put together. But it's not a Word or a Google Doc, which is also fine. You're not relying on Grammarly or ChatGPT to make sure everything is correct. It's a sophisticated tool that has industry data relevant to your industry, sample plans, and polished formats. My favorite part of it is if you have any financials, it will link to almost any financial platform, like a Xero, a QuickBooks, Zoho. I don't know why all the financial platforms are letters at the end of the alphabet, but that's the market they've chosen. And so it will connect with that and upload your data directly so you can do projections without you having to manually enter things. If you don't have that financial data, there are tools in the system and tools with our team that we can help you do some projecting as to what that might cost. You also get one-on-one support with LivePlan. There is online tech support and training through LivePlan when you have access to it. So you can reach out to those folks 24/7. SIMBA staff is not available 24/7, but we can send comments. We can come in and edit. We can do meetings together and walk through your plan and get it done. But again, you're doing the starting of the drafting. We are providing tools and resources to get you there. If we were in the business of drafting business plans daily, we'd be making a lot more money and would not be a nonprofit. Like I said, it's also free or inexpensive. It's a really great business plan drafted by vetted software with support staff who has knowledge and training in it. You get 30 days free for the software with support from staff, and then $25 for each additional 30-day period. Again, that is a massive savings that we're able to provide because we are a nonprofit. If you happen to be a SIMBA business member, I know at least one of you in the room is, you get 45 days free and $15 for each additional 30-day period. So a benefit of membership. Other options for drafting your plan include creating your own plan with no support, free, Not always good. Maybe it is good. Maybe you have an MBA or you're a talented writer. Uh, Kind of the middle option is downloading a template from a resource like SCORE, which is the Society of Retired Executives. It's a national nonprofit that provides business support. There is a branch of SCORE in Spokane or in Eastern Washington that serves Spokane and North Idaho. They have a great set of templates on there. That is a great starting point, especially if you're trying to wait for a spot on LivePlan or you want to do a lot of work and you've hired a consultant. Also free, better than just drafting on your own. We have seen a few folks bring us business plans from AI with no editing. I cannot not recommend that enough. You can tell and the lenders can tell. Because importantly, if you're speaking with a lender or doing a presentation to a potential funder, they're going to ask you about the data in your plan. They're going to want to know where the numbers come from, why you think you're going to make $1 million opening a sports bar in Spokane, what your industry experience is. If you can't answer the questions because AI created it, you're not going to get funded either. The last and best option is hiring a paid consultant who just does business planning for a living. It is super expensive. If you can afford to do it, absolutely do it. But what really is a business plan? Usually all of our photos on our presentations are photos we've taken of local businesses. This one I did pull for free available clip art because I couldn't find good business planning software. But a business plan is simply a written report. Can be in paper or electronic. I would say most folks want them electronic now. You can definitely make glossy printouts of your PDF, but it includes both narrative data, like written sections about what you are trying to do. And I'll talk about all the sections in just a moment, and financial information about your business. If you're in the 0 to 3 year stage, startup new business, you probably don't have a lot of financial data. You might have none, but then you're just pulling in projections. And as long as you can talk about where your projections are from a reasoned place, that's perfectly fine. I meet with Karen Campbell pretty regularly. She's the financial director at Stamp Financial. And she talked to me about a business plan that she saw where these folks were going to open a restaurant. They had industry experience, which is very important, but they had these wild numbers for tables and chairs. And she didn't know where the numbers came from. And they were super low. So she said, where are you getting these tables and chairs so inexpensively? And the person said, oh, I just guessed. And that's not the answer. Even if you print an Amazon print off at SIMBA, we don't suggest you shop at Amazon, but even if you put a print of, here's some chairs that are comparable to what I want, and I think this is a reasonable price, that's going to work. But just pulling a number out of thin air with no ties to an actual number is not going to work. But it's the story of your business. It's the story of who you are, and who you are is very important to lenders. What you do and what you want to do with your business. It's a tool to test the expansion of your business, and it's required again for most lending. I'm going to keep repeating that because I think the number one request we get at SIMBA is support for how do I get a business loan or how do I get capital for my business? And we always talk about the business planning tool and why that's important. And we definitely get folks who kind of gloss over that and then don't get their loan because they don't have a business plan. Again, you don't have to have a super formal structured business plan to apply for that loan, but you have to have the key details. So if we can give you a tool to give you a great one, please use it. What is included in a business plan? The first part is the executive summary, which is just kind of a one-pager, a couple of paragraphs, high notes of who you are and what you're going to do. It's not the same as your pitch, which we'll talk about. And usually the executive summary, it is the first tab in LivePlan, first page on almost every business plan, but it's usually the thing you draft last because you've got to do all the work here to be able to complete in a couple of paragraphs what you're doing. The second section is the opportunity. What is the problem? There's not enough coffee shops. What's the solution? We're going to open a coffee shop. Why is your solution the better solution? Because we've got a coffee shop on every corner. Who your target market is and who your competitors are. Your regional actual competitors. This is where you have to do some research. This is where working with SIMBA staff is going to help you. Working with Mark at the library is going to help you at the business library. Using the tools available on LivePlan, using some other tools available, literally driving around your community and knowing who these people are is important because especially if you're opening a coffee shop is a great example in the Northwest because we have a million of them. If you're trying to get funding, that funder is really going to know why your coffee shop is better and why we need another one. Looking at my window and I can see 2 coffee shops within a block and a half of each other. And so why do we need another one? Who are your competitors and what are you going to do different from them? It is definitely not a place to bash your competitors, but it is a place to show what they're doing or what you perceive they're doing and why you're going to do it better or differently to attract maybe a market that they're missing. One example of that might be, I think about, there's a business called Lunarium on Monroe. They're like a tea, coffee, and like dessert shop, but they're open late hours. So they have their target market is people who maybe work swing shifts, creatives, folks who have a non-traditional schedule. So they are open when a lot of the other coffee shops are closed. So they provided a problem, no places to go at night. And their solution is be open at night. Execution is how you're going to do it. Your operations plan, your marketing plan, what milestones you need to meet to achieve either starting your business or growing your business, and what metrics or data tools you're going to look at to see if you've succeeded. Like, how do you know you've succeeded? Is it X number of members? Is it a certain number of customers? Is it a dollar value? What does that look like for you and your business? The fourth portion is about the company. The ownership, like literally information about the owners and any investors and advisors. The structure of your business. Is it a corporation? Is it an LLC? Is it a sole proprietor? If you think it's going to be a sole proprietorship, definitely schedule a meeting with one of us so we can maybe talk you out of that. But what is the structure? Who are the people? What advisors have you used? Who's going to manage your business if it's not going to be you? And something really critical here is talking about the experience in the industry you are planning to work in. So someone in your ownership, your management advisor group needs to have experience in the industry for the kind of business you're opening. So if you want to open a restaurant and you want to get funders and you have 0 restaurant experience, saying, you know, my family likes my cooking isn't going to cut it. You have to have someone in this section who has relevant industry experience. They don't have to have owned a restaurant, but they maybe have to have worked in a kitchen or front of the house, manage restaurant management. It's really important you talk about why you're the right people to be creating this business, especially if you're looking for startup funding. The financial plan, your forecast, your financing, how you're going to get the money from it, and your SWOT analysis. SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's not as difficult as it is. It could be just bullet points. If you have existing financial data, it's really easy to pull that in and forecast. You could say, I need to hire another employee. Here's what it's going to cost. Here's the sales I need to make. For financing, you need realistic options of how you're going to fund it. And there's a phrase that is very common in the lending industry and other places, but skin in the game. What are you putting in? Angel investors, potential business partners who are just going to finance you, even family members, and for sure, regular banks and credit unions want to know how much money you're putting up into this because they don't want to invest in you if you're not investing in yourself. And the last part is your pitch. It's your elevator pitch. So you can tell me in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe a little longer, depending on who you're pitching to, but a clear, concise structure of how you're going to sell this business to someone, how you're going to sell this new request for funding, this new, maybe you want to make a new product, or maybe you want to grow your online space. Maybe it's time to open a brick and mortar, whatever it is you're using the business planning for, you need to be able to talk about it. We've all seen pitches on Shark Tank, for example, right? Tell me why you should have this project. The pitch is really short. The Q&A is kind of part of the pitch, but that's more of these other pieces just played out in real time. Let me show you a really good plan. It's the Rosalie Murray Foundation. So hopefully this wants to click for me. I am going to make this larger. Okay. So there we go. So I have permission to share this, but this is a 58-page business plan that was created with SIMBA staff and the folks at Birdie's Nest, and which is the Rosalie Murray Foundation, and LivePlan software. I will zoom out for a second here. There we go. But this is just the imaging that she chose. There's a couple of different, I think there's 10 different templates for your final version of the plan. She could give this PDF to someone electronically or print it out on beautiful paper if she wanted it to. But right, we have a cover page with information about what it is, the business plan, when it's prepared, and contact information. Just a great, pretty cover sheet. This is the template she chose. You can choose whatever template you want. The Rosalie Murray Foundation and the Birdie's Nest will be a daycare for children with developmental disabilities. Julie and her family who founded it had a child who passed very young with developmental disabilities. And the purpose of it is to provide the same kinds of regular daycare that's available to children without disabilities at a reasonable cost. It will be a nonprofit, and a reasonable manner with extended hours, with weekends, with things that are needed for children with developmental disabilities and both physical and mental to create that. So they wanted to create this plan. They have received some funding already and they're in the growing funding phase. They're about to, I'll show you metrics as to where they're going, but they wanted something beautiful to put together. Julie probably spent, and our staff spent about 90 days putting this together. She did a bulk of the work. She comes from an education background, so I didn't have to do any correcting of kind of the basic things, spelling, grammar, and those kinds of things that we often see. But this is going to be downloaded from the LivePlan software, and it's put all of the information in here. The executive summary, the opportunity, the execution, the company, the financial plan. Again, the executive summary, hers is a couple of pages. And it's who we are, what we're trying to do. There's key phrases, bold, what their mission is, who they're trying to serve. It has real data related to the need in Spokane County for kids like this and what it looks like, where they're going to operate and how they're going to work. It talks about the opportunity in the program. It talks about why their solution is better, target markets. It has tables of their competitors. And there's tables that you can create on here to show what you're offering that is different in a really clear format, which I love the tables. Competition and what they're doing differently, how they're going to go out doing it, their marketing and sales plan, their operations, what their facilities are like, what technology they're using. Not all these things are going to matter to you. Maybe technology is not critical to whatever your business is. You're only including the things that are relevant for your business. Their milestones and metrics are great. Like, here's the date we're getting a location. Here's the date we're doing architecture. Here's when we're going to open, etc. For you, that might be a very different and a much shorter set of metrics, and that's perfectly fine. It is your plan. This is kind of a gold star plan, and Julie and I were estimating, we talked to a financial planner, it might have cost her $25,000 to get this otherwise. But they have marketing metrics, staff metrics, financial metrics, again, relevant to your business. They have a ton about the ownership and the structure of their team, who their important advisors are and why that matters, the financial plan. And we worked a lot with real data. Some of it we got from Startup Spokane, and then projections. We can always help you with what does it actually cost to have a staff member, because it's not just their hourly rate. And getting all those in there to create this. And we only plugged in a few numbers, and then all the projections are created for you based on those real numbers. So again, it's all these numbers, all this information, and you can take this and download it and use it however you like. You can also have us revisit it with you at any time. Oops, let me pull that back up. A very last small caveat, we got started a little late, but I also want to be conscious of everyone's time about startup lending, because it is our primary question. If you're starting up a business, the business has no credit or financial data. There's no history to lend on your business. So your personal credit matters. And quite frankly, even at most stages of your business, unless you're a massive business, your personal credit still matters. Your personal credit worthiness, your credit score, your personal assets are going to be a factor in startup and early business lending always. Your relevant experience. You're simply not going to receive startup funding if you or another one of the owners lacks industry-specific experience. If you disagree, I definitely welcome you to talk to any of the lenders in our community, but that is the one thing that matters to them most, honestly, is relevant experience. They want to know you have a track record and know what you're doing, and not just that your family likes your cookies and you want to open a bakery. Here's the one I can't reiterate enough is don't count on grants. Grants for-profit businesses are very rare outside of research and tech spaces. I know there were a lot of grants during the pandemic. There was a lot of ARPA funding. I know some of you in the room got like City of Spokane grants and other things. That was time-limited funding that has already been spent, and I don't see any of that coming again anytime soon. And quite frankly, it didn't really exist before the pandemic. There are rare for-profit business grants here or there. They're almost never for startups, and they're very industry specific. So if you think a grant is going to fund your business, please take that out of your business plan. And always, always, always look to credit unions, especially if you're a very small business. Credit unions have a mission to support the communities they serve versus big banks like a US Bank or a Bank of America who have to serve their shareholders. Not saying that big banks don't lend, but they have less risk and availability to lend than a credit union. A credit union is supposed to put money back in the community, so they'll issue loans easier and more frequently than larger regional banks. A regional bank being like a Banner or an Umpqua versus like a Numerica credit union. And start banking with the bank you want to lend from sooner than later or want to seek lending from, because if you already have a relationship, it's easier for them to do underwriting, and sometimes there's no underwriting. We are happy to talk about all these things more in depth, but again, these are short trainings to get you there. If you want our help, there's one of you in the room here. There's a link, and again, I'll send you the slides on our website to schedule a meeting with us. You can also email us. If you DM us on social media, know that we will get to you, but sometimes we miss those. So definitely reach out to us otherwise. And my last is, I'm going to make this smaller and stop sharing. Questions. I'm going to stop my share here. I know that was a lot. I will say, the process of using LivePlan is if you have a spot and you're ready, we set up the framework of your business. We pick the industry that's relevant. So there's already a tool in place, and you just start drafting. And you can leave us comments on there that we receive directly. You can send us emails or schedule meetings to get you through the process. And again, if you're going over the 30 days, $25 is a pretty small investment in your business. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any questions. I thank you all for your time this afternoon. And the next day or so, you'll get an email with a link to the video and with the slides that I just presented, and the links in the slides are live, so you can access the information that's in there, except we won't have a live link for the Rosalie Murray plan. She said I could share it in an online way, but not otherwise, because they're still seeking funders. But otherwise, we are happy to walk you through the process. Thanks so much for your time today.